Hey, this is Jeff, and welcome back to Starfield. I was just trying to see if there's any way to get from the starport to Uptown other than the Nat or going through the well, and there isn't, at least not without going all the way around the hill and approaching from the north. But I ended up on top of the Nat track at sunset with Lynn. I'm not going to use the word romantic, but see, sometimes I do take you nice places. In fact, this might be time for another chat.
Nice to see you.
Do you mind if I ask you some more personal questions?
Yes. All right.
I'd like to know more about your life outside of Argos.
All right. What's your question?
You said you served in the Colony War?
I did. I know I don't seem like the military type. Like most people, I was less practical when I was young.
Oh, she has a lot to say about that. What did you do in the military?
I was a drill sergeant. You don't seem surprised. I have a firm hand and a knack for getting the best out of people. The UC saw that and put me in charge of training new recruits for combat.
Well, I guess that explains why you were so strict with the miners.
Well, I lost someone dear to me in the war. I'm as strict as I need to be to make sure my workers' families don't have to go through that too. Mining can be as dangerous as combat, you know. There's a good reason why I've held on to old habits.
If it's not too personal, may I ask who you lost in the war?
It was my husband. The love of my life. He was killed just a month before the armistice.
Did the two of you serve together?
No, we didn't. I was stationed at a recruiting center on Jemison, and he served on the front lines. He was a crewman aboard one of the UC's largest ships. He used to tease me about how much more exciting his service was than mine. He always hated being stuck in cities for too long.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. It was never quite the same after he died.
Did you serve for the entire war?
I was only in the military for a year and a half. I spent the rest of the war underground, mining materials for the UC to turn into ships and bullets.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me.
I'll see you later.
Oh, man. I know I joke around about Captain Jeff being clueless about relationships, but Captain Jeff is space me, and I gotta say, that was a rough one. Was that like, the friend zone is right where I want to be, Dusty? Don't screw it up by hitting on me? Or was it, that was a long time ago, maybe it is time for me to move on? Or was it, thanks for reopening old wounds, asshole? Anyway, next stop is ship services. I had a little bit of placebo effect going on in the battle at Tal Sadie. I said the extra shield power was nice, but the increased regen speed was even better. And you want to know the funny thing about that? I upgraded the reactor so we'd have the extra power we needed for the bigger shield generator, and then I got distracted by replacing the railgun and never actually upgraded the shields. That really is a nice view out there, though. Okay, she is constantly doing acrobatic stuff to impress me, so maybe it was I'm ready to move on. Anyway, I'm guessing it just seemed like the shields were better because I was taking out the spacers at much longer range and we just weren't getting hit as much. Oh, I decided not to replace the high gravity boost module on my boost pack. I'm still not a fan of the Mega Boost in lower gravity, but if I change my mind, it'd require materials I don't have and 3 levels of backpack research to be able to build another one. But actually, before I go over to ship services, there's something I've glanced at a couple times when I was wandering around this city but never checked out. The conversation with Lynn reminded me there's some kind of armistice museum or memorial. Might fill in some of the gaps in my knowledge about the colony war. What was it about? Who was fighting who? That kind of thing. Whether Lynn thinks that's a thoughtful gesture or just insensitive, hard to say. It's kind of across the plaza from the main entrance to MAST, so I think we came to the wrong side of town. Oh yeah, she's definitely trying to impress me. Do not mention that I took Sarah out there to look at the wilderness around the city. But anyway, yeah, I think the armistice thing is over on the other side of the tower. Here we go.
And after the UC Navy's defeat at the Battle of Cheyenne by the Freestar Collective's ragtag fleet, both sides decided the time had come to bring the colony war to an end. So, the two parties came together to negotiate the terms of the armistice. Fleet sizes would be capped, mechs and xeno weapons outlawed, and all research related to those fields would be kept under lock and key in their own special archive, which actually rests below our feet as we speak. And while these new restrictions transformed the settled systems overnight, entire economies were upended with the flick of a pen. They also marked the start of something critical: cooperation between the United Colonies and the Freestar Collective for the first time in decades. A pledge between the powers for a more harmonious future. Thank you for listening.
Okay, good. Lynn doesn't seem upset. The war was between the UC and the Freestar Collective, which is what I thought, but I wasn't 100% sure. And apparently the Terrormorph project wasn't a secret. Or at least it isn't anymore. If we talk to the historian, does she have any more to say?
The archives themselves are off limits, but you're free to look around up here.
She does not. Let's not go down there immediately after she told us it's off limits. Anyway, ship services.
You should inspect your ship for heat leeches every couple landings. They'll cause plenty of havoc if left unchecked.
I would absolutely do that if I knew how, or pay to have it done. Anyway, I'd like to modify my ship.
Sure, have at it.
15% increase, no maneuverability hit, and completely within our energy budget. Or 33%, lose 1 point of maneuverability and we'd have to power down something else by 1 point. Yeah, take the big one. We can afford a point off the auto particle beam. Thanks to the comments for letting me know it isn't a turret. It's like a particle machine gun that I have to fire myself. And I still forget to use missiles half the time when we have a lock, so yeah. And speaking of combat effectiveness, the good news is I was able to hire someone to replace Moara. Also, thanks to the comments for letting me know the reason we can have 3 crew members is Sarah's leadership skill.
Man, the galaxy's too big to be stuck in the same place.
You keep installing new cool things in your ship. It's like Christmas every day.
The bad news is...
Hey, Captain.
Hey, Dad.
Need help with anything?
Will you read to
Hello,
me tonight
Barrett.
before bed?
I'm all ears.
Look, man, I'm big enough to admit when I'm wrong. And while I still think it's redundant to have 2 handsome, charming badasses on one ship, you can dramatically increase our particle beam output and repair the ship faster than I could do alone. So, welcome aboard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, rank 4 starship engineering and rank 3 particle beam weapon systems. Perfect. And speaking of Barrett, I noticed this over somebody's shoulder in a conversation a few episodes back.
Sometimes I just want to turn off the grav drive so we can float around.
That would be pretty cool, Cora. Anyway, a sketch and notes on the artifact and snapshots of Osco. But the artifact sketch didn't have enough detail to tell us anything new. All right, to Jemison Outpost 1.
Anything I can do for you?
Hey, Heller. Been a while. Yeah, I found a big strike of titanium on a moon near Aquila. Want to come check it out with me? Maybe set up an outpost?
You can count on me.
Okay. Let me know when you need me again.
Oh, hang on, Lynn.
You look well.
Thanks. You too. I need to run Heller over to a new outpost site, and after our conversation earlier, I thought maybe you'd want some downtime. Plus, somebody needs to mind the store here, right? I'll be back after we get all that squared away, okay?
Be safe.
I'll do my best. You do the same. And speaking of resources, there should be a good bit of lead in the extractor here. Well, 15. Not as much as I was expecting, but still not bad. Where's the ship? I purposely built the outpost right next to the landing zone. Excuse me? No, seriously, where is it? Did Barrett take it? Why is it all the way over there? What, he's like, the new guy thinks he can just take my ship, huh? Let's see how he likes walking everywhere. Son of a bitch. It's not fear of intimacy. I just can't assign Heller to a new outpost until it's built, and building it will be easier with him along. I don't think I can actually build a titanium extractor without his outpost engineering skill.
Is there a way to go faster than the speed of light? And none of that
what's
grab
up?
tech cheating?
You said you had something for me?
Thought you'd never ask. This is for you.
Tantalum. Nice. Thanks. Oh, hey! Did
Can I
you
help?
did you
Hey,
get
Good to see you.
did you get a chance to check this out yet? The Heart of Mars. Biggest silver nugget anybody's ever seen. Pretty sweet, huh? What did I tell you, man? Titanium everywhere. Wait, what did that say? Come on, this is a great spot. Higher rank of planetary habitation. Yeah, there was no environmental hazard last time because it was night. There's just radiation during the day because there's no magnetic field or atmosphere. But even so, I thought his outpost engineering skill would still let me put down a beacon. But apparently not. Yep. Planetary habitation is a completely different skill, and we're nowhere close to unlocking it. So we ran all this way for nothing. Brilliant. Oh, I'm really impressing all my friends today. But we do have a skill point, and I've been saying for weeks I want to rank up boost pack training, so let's do that. Which may or may not help with my current boost pack since it burns the whole load every time you use it, and that may just be hard-coded, but I guess we'll find out the next time we use it. All right, plan B. I've been surveying kind of willy-nilly, and I'm going to completely lose track of what I have and haven't done if I don't get organized. I surveyed a good bit of the Sol system when I went there on my first big surveying spree, so let's finish that off. We can check in with Ikande while we're there, since that's our current objective in the Infiltrate the Crimson Fleet mission.
I had a friend on the Regana. I hope I'll be able to see him next time we're on shore leave.
Oh, that reminds me. I realized I was wrong about why Dimitri gave me the supplies. I thought it would convince Mora that I'd destroyed the Regana, and I was confused when I had to tell her I didn't, but it makes a lot more sense if it was proof that I killed Rake and robbed the Regana while I was there. Because obviously everybody would know the Regana was okay the next time it landed somewhere.
Hello.
At ease, soldier. We got the message from the Regana about Austin Rick. We had him dropped off at a separate port, off the books. Suffice to say, he's got a lot to answer for.
Oh, wow. I am genuinely impressed with that. Because that is exactly what I said at the time. I would have been fine killing Rake myself, but I didn't want to traumatize the crew by making them do it.
That was quick thinking on your part. Selfless and creative. Our regular agents can be a little too rigid, because they're trained to follow orders. Oh, one more thing before we move on. For transparency's sake, you should know we were the ones that hired Ecliptic to attack Neva's ship. There was concern after what happened with the Regana that you might have trouble earning Neva's trust. Coming to her rescue ensured that would not be a problem.
Setting aside the fact that you may be grossly overestimating my abilities as a pilot, you just sent those mercs to their deaths? Well, I mean, no surprise that he's cold-blooded. And it was clever.
Ah, so I take it you have good news. Were you able to join the fleet?
It does seem like I passed their first test, yeah.
Then it worked. You're in. Sounds like everything is going as expected. Now it's time for the next phase of the mission.
Our intel on Saoirse was correct. After we received reports on your interaction with Adler Kemp, we picked up on your rendezvous with Neva Mora.
Our files indicate she's second in command, so getting on her good side will ensure you get into the Crimson Fleet.
Well, that was the plan, right? So what do you know about Neva Mora? Any tentacles? Extra eyes? Forbidden knowledge? Anything like that?
The woman has a record that could stretch across Sol and back. She started young as one of Neon's street rats and worked her way up to second in command. She's a force to be reckoned with, so don't underestimate her.
Well, if she's related to Hermaeus, I will not. But everything seems to be going as planned.
Yes, you passed your first test and you're still alive. But before we get too confident, that either means she suspects nothing, or she intends to make an example of you later. Just remember, these are ruthless criminals, so don't let your guard down.
And their ruthlessness is only surpassed by their cunning. You should proceed with caution, regardless of how well you think you've ingratiated yourself.
So what's next for you on Neva's agenda?
I got the coordinates to the Crimson Fleet base. I'm supposed to meet her there.
Excellent. If you're heading to the Key, I assume you'll be meeting Delgado soon.
Delgado is the leader of the Crimson Fleet. I have a profile here with some information on his background. You'll want to know the individual cadences of every member of the fleet, but Delgado's most of all.
In any case, now that you're with the fleet, you'll be operating independently. We will shadow you eventually, but we'll need to maintain our distance for now, especially while you're on the Key. This will also give us time to bolster our defenses, should we need to engage with the fleet in the future.
Sir, on that note, shall we begin implementing the upgrade to our shields?
Immediately, Lieutenant. Notify the engineers and relay the information to the crew. I hope your entry into the fleet has overcome any doubts you may have had regarding your mission. It certainly increased my estimates on success. Keep up the good work. We'll expect further reports. Dismissed.
Let's see if Toft has anything else to say.
First mission in the books and no casualties. Good work.
Things are progressing rather quickly. I'm sure the commander is pleased.
You mentioned the Vigilance is upgrading its shielding?
That's right. It's something we've requested a while ago, in preparation for a future conflict with the fleet. Once we finalize everything and run a few tests, we'll have the defenses needed for a jump to the Crick system when the time comes.
Plot point? Why is it called the Crix system?
The system was originally called Alpha Ophiuchi, until a flag was planted there by Jasper Crix, the founder of the Crimson Fleet. Since it was crucial that space travelers avoided that system, navigators marked it as Crix on star maps as a warning. They could have just as easily labeled it Crimson Fleet, so I'm guessing the pirates themselves were responsible for spreading their leader's name. Over the years, people forgot the system's original designation and started calling it the Crix system. It's been that way ever since.
Interesting. Possibly useful, maybe not. Ikande was kind of snarky when I asked him, "Do you have any detailed information on the Crimson Fleet?"
Sure. We have a database of profiles you can read, which should help you ingratiate yourself with the group. However, the profiles are a guide, not gospel. Use what you can, fill in the blanks, and play off that. I imagine when you're done, you'll be able to generate far more accurate profiles than what we have in our system.
Perfect. Thanks. All right. I'll see you later.
Good luck on the key.
You know, I was just being cute with the Elder Scrolls reference, but the name really might not be a coincidence if you take the tentacles and eyes everywhere metaphorically. In which case, the idea that maybe she knows everything is mildly alarming. Cora?
You keep installing new cool things in your ship. It's like Christmas every day.
I'm up for a little adventure.
Good, but can you ask Cora not to jump on the chart table, please? Anyway, let's do some surveying. That is apparently the Deimos Star Yard.
So, I hear you've been making yourself pretty useful around the ship, Cora.
I have, Dad. I want to be as good a co-pilot for the captain as I am for you.
Well, you're doing a great job, Stringbean. I'm proud of you. What do you say we get you a new outfit next time we're planetside?
It still fits, Dad. And I love it. Now, a new book.
Scan Deimos, and then we just need to finish Mars itself. Land on the night side so we don't have to worry about radiation from cosmic rays.
Everything checks out. Landing initiated.
Hey, check this out. I've been working on my Lynn impression.
Suit up, Dusty. It's rough out here. Pretty good, huh?
Not bad, but your Barrett's a lot better. I can imagine him back on Vectera. Hey, Lynn, check it out. I'm the new guy. Hey, this is Jeff. Nope. Ranking up boost pack training doesn't affect the power boost module. Still burns the whole load in one go. But the next rank will at least make it refill faster. We need 3 more minerals and 2 geological features. And there are 2 on the scanner. And there's some water. Aqueous hematite. Don't know what that is, but inferring from the name, maybe water-bearing iron-based rock? Whatever it is, it's not on the list of resources we need to scan. But it might be worth harvesting some. Never know what you might need for crafting. Iron meteorite. Must be another chunk down there somewhere. Right there. Okay, let's grab some iron and go check the other one. Meteor shower impact site. All right, that just leaves us with what? Chlorine? I guess we have to try a different spot. That's chlorine, and I think it should still be on the night side.
Let's crack some rocks, huh? Just like old times?
The resources on the planetary scan don't mean only that resource is available in that area. You can usually find the common ones almost anywhere. I try to find a spot where multiple types border each other, and more often than not, I can tag all the minerals within a reasonable distance of one landing site. But either chlorine is a little more picky, or we just got unlucky with the spawns the first time. I'm always curious when ships land nearby, but that's awfully big, and given that it could be spacers or pirates or some other hostile faction, maybe we'll just mind our own business. All right, everything out to Mars is completely surveyed, so let's start on the moons of Jupiter. I'm really interested in Europa. It has oceans of liquid water under the ice. Well, several moons of the outer planets do, but Europa was the first one that people started to think, hey, we've been assuming alien life had to be in a star's so-called habitable zone, but maybe we need to think outside the box. The game says no, but we can only check the outer surface, so fair enough. Point being, there's life on Earth around deep ocean hydrothermal vents with similar pressure and temperature, no light, so there's no reason to think there couldn't be similar life a few miles under the ice on some of these moons. And I'm a little bit nervous about landing because there's a plot point in 2010 where the precursors tell humans, hey, explore your solar system all you want, but hands off Europa.
All clear. Time to land this ship.
Presumably because there's life there that they're nurturing, just like they watched over life on Earth. And theoretically, Captain Jeff could have read it.
Now this reminds me of home.
That's actually an interesting tangent. Like, in Fallout, real-world history is only canon prior to the 1940s, after which the timelines diverge. Some real things later than that are canon, like Elvis, but by the late 60s, history is vastly different. But here, if I've heard of it, there's a possibility Captain Jeff might have heard of it. Like, Arthur C. Clarke is presumably totally canon. Not like the plots of his novels, obviously, but the fact that he wrote them. And Captain Jeff has ample reason to be wary of crossing any hypothetical precursors, even though I'm sticking with the simulation theory for now. And what's next, Callisto or Ganymede? I'm not sure what order their orbits are. Ganymede. There's water. And unlike most of these moons, there's a trait we need to discover. See any unexplored geological features, Heller? Well, that looks like one. Yeah, a little bit of a hike, but not too bad. Well, that looks pretty cool. Some kind of crystal formation. Crystalline nucleation nodule. To Callisto. Helium-3. I'm actually going to harvest some of that. And we level up. It kind of seems like if we need some for crafting, we could just siphon it out of the fuel tank, but yeah, that's probably not as easy as siphoning gas. To be clear, I've never stolen gas, but I have siphoned some out of the car for the lawnmower if I didn't feel like driving to town to fill up the gas can. Anyway, moons of Saturn are next.
Oh, there's one. Where's my textbook? Unknown ship. Do you copy? This is a UC Vanguard vessel. Please respond to my hail.
Okay. Damn it. I remapped the get up key so this wouldn't happen.
Come in, unknown ship. Am I just supposed to keep saying that?
Well, at least we weren't in combat.
You actually responded. Wait, where'd my notes go? Thank you for accepting my hail. This is UC Vanguard vessel AHC 1026, performing standard training exercises. Civilian pilot, do you require assistance from the UC Vanguard at this time?
I remapped it to I, and I definitely have to press I to stand up when we land, but that wasn't the freaking problem. Well, better to find out about it now. Anyway, sorry. First day on the job?
Still in training, actually. Is it that obvious?
Yeah, kinda. You could be a little less formal, but you'll get the hang of it. Anyway, I'm good. Thanks for asking.
Phew, okay. Fly safely, civilian pilot. Thank you for responding to this hail from the UC Vanguard. Vessel AHC-1026 prepping for grav jump. Please stay clear.
Suboptimal default key bindings notwithstanding, some of the random encounters are hilarious. See? I to get up.
Well, time to break out the suits.
Nickel, water, and palladium. And palladium is rare, requires rank 3 to see from orbit, so this might be a bit of a needle in a haystack. Oh man, look at that view though. Does Mimas have an orbital inclination high enough to see the rings at that angle? Well, presumably so, considering how carefully everything else is modeled. Yeah, Saturn's moons are wild. There are hundreds of them, but there's not complete consensus on how many because the line between what you call a moon and what's really just a big chunk of ring material isn't cut and dried. The rings themselves are vast debris fields with sizes ranging from microscopic dust to big boulders. Every piece is in an independent orbit, and as you might imagine, there are collisions that break big pieces into smaller chunks, and at the same time, you have pieces growing as they draw in dust around them. And the moons are crazy. Most of the big ones orbit more or less in Saturn's rotational plane. That is, within a few degrees of perpendicular to its axis of rotation, but the others are wildly skewed. There's a big group that orbit in the plane of Saturn's orbit around the sun. Some of them orbit backwards, and while there isn't complete consensus on when and how the rings formed, a popular theory is that all of it is the result of a collision between two pretty big objects close to Saturn. And in somewhat oversimplified terms, the shrapnel hasn't stopped flying yet. And while it wouldn't be really feasible to make hundreds of individual moons places you can visit in the game, reality is somewhat reflected in the fact that there are twice as many here as around Jupiter, where they also whittled it down to 4 of the most interesting out of a much larger number. And this might be another place where we have to try another landing site. But I am going to mine some of this nickel. You need that for a lot of weapon mods. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of Outpost equipment requires it too. I don't think I've done much sprinting since I got this backpack, but the buff to the oxygen meter makes a huge difference. It feels like I can sprint forever. Even if I eventually decide to switch it to a different boost module, that and the high damage resistance make it better than any backpack I've found so far. You know what? We're so close to that science outpost now, I think I'm going to check it out. I tend to ignore points of interest on the surface map. Well, other than geological features that unlock traits you need to discover for a complete survey, which Mimas doesn't have. Or if it's something important enough that the game flags it from orbit. But considering how interesting some of the random encounters in space are, I should probably check out some of the procedurally generated points of interest on the surface map, too. I mean, some of them are probably more along the lines of the, "Hi, we're spacers, please blow us up" variety of space encounters. Abandoned Ecliptic Garrison was like, "Nope, sorry, not interested." But this... looks like there are people. And they don't seem hostile. MAST Botanist. This doesn't seem like a great place for botany.
Just passing through, or here to help?
I guess she's got to put her broom away before she can talk.
I wasn't expecting to see anyone else out here. I'm glad you stopped by. We are analyzing the composition of the vapor arising from gas vents.
That sounds like a job for an intern, to be honest.
I know, right? But really, what's a little inconvenience for science?
Wow, she read me like a book. For science? Absolutely. All right, we'll make that the active quest and see where these vents are. Looks like there are 4 of them. Five, maybe. Well, they're not that far away. We'll have this done in no time. What's that? Oh, palladium. Well, whatever the reward for this fetch quest is, that makes it worth it. You know, it might be a coincidence because the sample size is low, but it seems like I have found more rare resources in the general vicinity of point of interest markers. Like specifically around geological features, but maybe there's a higher likelihood of them spawning around any point of interest. Or maybe it's all in my head, wishful thinking. But whatever the case, we would not have found that palladium if we hadn't come over here to check out the science outpost.
You're back? I'll be honest, I wondered if you might just wander off with our gear. Here, this is for you. I only wish I had more to give. Safe travels, friend.
Thanks. 2,000 credits, not too shabby. And what kind of botany are you doing on an airless rock?
I'll be sure to mention your contributions in my report. Thanks.
Maybe seeing how plants do in low-G environments?
Excellent work.
I miss my dear darling in New Atlantis. Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there.
Well, apparently that's a popular song, since that's the wrong accent to be the guy we heard singing it a while back.
I hope it wasn't too much trouble.
I'll be sure to mention your contributions in my report. Thanks.
Okay, well, this is cool.
Sorry, I don't have time to talk. I owe the lead researcher a report by the end of the day.
I'm not even going to pretend to know which moon we need to scan next. Did I mention Saturn has a lot of them? Enceladus it is. I'm surprised I didn't scan this already when we were here to find Rake. Well, I guess it wouldn't have been ideal for maintaining our cover if I was like, "This is the Crimson Fleet, hand him over or die." Oh, hold on a second. I just want to scan this moon for science! And we can see 3 of the 4 from orbit. I have no idea what the rare one is. Arcock? I'm not sure I believe the rarest resources are cock. That's actually pretty common. We got too much on the ship already. No offense, Heller. I'm talking about Barrett.
Gear looks green. Ready to land.
Yeah, you'll have to take my word for this because like an idiot, I stopped recording to take care of some mundane housekeeping at the end of the last episode. And while I was waiting for Lynn to sit down for the outro, which I figured she would, companions use furniture objects if you're stationary for a while. Anyway, while I was getting set up for the outro, Barrett was totally hitting on Noelle. Which, it absolutely sucks that I wasn't recording, because A, it was hilarious, and B, it would have been the perfect setup to explain why I assigned him to the Frontier despite us being frenemies. Because obviously, from Captain Jeff's perspective, having Barrett back at the lodge flirting with Noelle is 100% unacceptable. Well, he might not have been flirting. He was trying to convince her to go exploring with him, and maybe it was a purely innocent mentor explaining that field experience is valuable kind of thing. But I got a distinct come fly with me vibe, and she was having none of it. And look at the different view of Saturn from an orbit slightly farther out. That's awesome. Barrett's one of those weird situations where role-playing Captain Jeff as Space Me requires him diverging a bit from how I actually feel. I like the character of Barrett a lot. Captain Jeff, not so much. I'm not proud of it, but when I was younger, there were a few times I got a little bit petty with people I thought overlapped too much with my own niche, if you know what I mean. And while we don't need to unlock any traits to complete the survey, it might be worth testing the theory that rare resources spawn near point of interest markers. Because otherwise we could poke around at random for days and never find any Arcock, whatever that is. And that's benzene, not alkanes. Wait. Benzene is an alkane, right? No. Alkanes are long chains, and benzene's a ring, I think. Hydrocarbons are weird. You can have two substances with the same chemical formula, but if the geometry of how the atoms are arranged is different, they have completely different properties. Or they can. Ice outcropping. No, that's not it. That's it. Well, yeah, that actually is pretty cool looking. Definitely seems like the kind of thing we'd have to scan if we decided we, did need it to unlock a trait. Which I think, but I'm not 100% sure, is also random. Like, the first time you scan a world, it generates a random number between 0 and, I think 3 or 4 is the most I've ever seen, but it seems to be heavily weighted towards 0 on small moons. And I could be wrong about that. Each world may have a predetermined number of traits, from none to a handful. But then, why would you bother spawning cool stuff like this on the ones that don't? I mean, the reason we use different terms for procedurally generated versus randomly generated is that there's some method to the madness, right? That's pretty damn cool. Have I actually harvested any benzene? Probably should. Never know what you might need it for. Good job. Well, we got some benzene at least. Maybe we'll need it to craft something really cool, so the lung damage was worth it. Rock pile? Yeah, you usually see a lot of those around geological features, and they usually have pretty good stuff. On worlds with animal life, you also see dung heaps, which, kind of gross, but I don't think I've ever roleplayed a character who was squeamish. Sometimes the loot you find on creatures in RPGs is pretty funny. Like, how did this wolf eat a helmet? But an Ashta kills some hapless prospector. Mosnath comes along munching grass, hoovers up the prospector. It's like, ew, that was the worst crouton I ever had. Later, poops out a super-cooled magnet. Story checks out. Oh, I see blue. Is it our cock? What was that? Carboxylic acids. Not sure what those are. Xylitol's a sugar alcohol. Maybe related? Well, whatever it is, we've got some, and the survey's complete. Let's go see about taking care of this lung damage. Sadly, I do not have any healing supplies that'll heal lung damage at the moment. Can we sleep it off? Apparently not. Okay, if you don't do anything to make your condition worse, the poor prognosis will improve over time to stable, then good, and eventually excellent. The affliction won't heal on its own at poor, but at each level above that, it has an increasing chance of doing so. Or we could just go to a doctor, obviously, or buy the right medicine, but I will 100% forget where I was if I run back to civilization to do that. So let's finish off the moons of Saturn and then take care of it.
You tagged their grav drive.
Well, this was bound to happen sooner or later. And it looks like they're attacking some friendlies, so that'll help.
I want that target wiped out! Light him up!
Well, it was UC something.
Grav drive on a commission. Aw, kiss your shields goodbye.
UC Navy. Shadowing us, or just a coincidence? Probably coincidence.
We got their engines, boss. Target's grav drive is down.
You can try and run.
Ikande said they were going to keep their distance for now. Finally remembered to try targeting mode. Well, so much for that. The UC finished him off before I could do anything. But at least we got to see what the targeting screen looks like. Anyway, where were we? Tethys? No, Rhea. What's down there? 3 resources and a trait. All right, find a good landing spot. Check it out. We might get the trait done before the resources. Hey, there's a person over there. Doesn't seem to be hostile. Who are you and what are you doing here? Hold up.
I don't take photos of people, sorry. Please don't stand in the way of my photography.
Okay, she's just out here taking pictures of the geological feature. And there it is. And it is... volcanic vents. Bet she's not going to get a picture from that angle. You know, I'm usually wary of ships that land nearby, but these people don't look hostile. Captain? Captain of what?
Yes? Oh, man. Are we glad to find you. Our ship's in bad shape. We managed to land, but we're in need of repairs. You wouldn't happen to have any spare ship parts, would you? We can probably jury-rig a fix on our own.
Well, first things first, how did your ship get damaged?
We just left the homestead when House Varun zealots attacked us. For a second, it seemed like we got away with minimal damage. But sure enough, things started to fall apart after the first grav jump. It's a miracle we even managed to land in one piece. But now we need to do some repairs if we're gonna get back home.
The crewman leaning in like that. I think I've seen this movie. We need a couple of high-pressure pistons. Bow chicka bow wow. Pardon the cough. It's not contagious. What do you think, Heller? Should we party with these ladies? But seriously. On one hand, 3,000 credits is double what you'd normally pay for ship parts, and I don't want to rip her off, but on the other hand, we're in the middle of nowhere, so charging a delivery fee doesn't seem unreasonable. What do you say?
Oh, this is going to hurt. But you can't spend credits if you're dead. Yeah. Excuse me.
I mean, in the unlikely event it was a pickup line, Heller would be bragging about it to everybody we know, so yeah, better this way. Oh hey, our lung damage just healed. The prognosis must have improved from poor to stable at some point, and I didn't notice. Or maybe it's like that quest in Oblivion, where they get you naked and then rob you. But probably just a ship that legit needed repairs. Now, what do we still need?
A spacer gang has been stealing from us for weeks. We are running out of supplies, and they're making bigger threats. Think you could take them out? We can't take much more of this. They're not far.
I needed some target practice. Sounds like a win-win.
I knew it. We can't thank you enough.
All right, where are they? Over there. However, the spacer hideout is close to the frontier, but there's a cave not far from here, and they always have good stuff. And we know Heller hates violence. Let's check out the cave, drop him off at the ship, and take somebody who's a little more fighty to deal with the spacers. Yeah, that sounds like a plan. Well, cool. Scanning resources in caves does count toward the survey. Wish I'd realized that 10 episodes ago. Nickel. Ready to head back out?
Yes, absolutely.
Will do, boss. Got a message home to write anyway.
Heller is no longer following. Unlike Moara, he can't exactly walk back home from here. But yeah, he defaulted back to Jemison Outpost 1. I think I was wasting ammo there. Pretty sure the first shot took him down. It's just hard to tell because the ragdoll's in super low gravity. You can't tell right away that somebody's falling down. Which is a nice, realistic touch. I just can't afford to waste sniper rifle ammo. What's this terminal do? Ah, remote robot control, huh? Well, never hurts to have another gun on our side. Hey, I recognize this. This is exactly the same layout as the mine where we met Andraja. Even has a heat leach in the same place. Apparently the interiors for point of interests on a procedurally generated surface map are not themselves procedurally generated. They're probably just randomly selected from a list of pre-generated local maps. Glass half empty, it kind of breaks immersion. Glass half full, now we know to watch out for a spacer boss at the bottom of the big pit. Spacer Punk, level 14. Not too scary. no problem. And the quest updated, so we don't technically have to clear out the rest of them, but he probably had some really good loot. Furious Calibrated Rattler. Better damage and accuracy than the Side Star, and that's without any mods. Tinker with it on a workbench, and it might be better across the board. Nah, but changing the receiver to semi-auto probably requires weapon engineering skill, which I do not have. Well, I'm just assuming it's full auto because Rattler kind of implies that, but maybe it's not. In fact, let's check that out right now. No, it is semi-auto. Well, the Side Star has served long and well, but I think it might be time to retire it. Well, there's the robot, just chilling out up here. Yeah, that was 100% the same layout. The only thing I'm sure was different were the enemies and the loot.
Even with advanced robotics, companies still risk human lives to mine for ore. You know why? Because it's cheaper.
Sarah, that's literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard you say. The whole point of robots is that they're cheaper than human labor. If they weren't, nobody would bother building them. Why do you think people are always worrying about being replaced by machines that can do their job at a lower cost? They still use humans to do jobs that robots can't, or because humans do the job better than a robot could, so they're worth the extra expense. You could make a case that they should use robots anyway, even if it means reduced productivity, but that's not what you said.
How'd everything go? Did you give them hell?
We did. The spacers have been dealt with.
Not going to lie, that's the best news I've heard all day. Here, this is yours. Wouldn't want you to leave empty-handed.
Neither would I. 3,000 credits. Wellness added. What is that? I've seen it before.
It's a miracle that none of this equipment's crushed me to death yet.
Maybe they should replace you with a robot. Anyway, wellness is a skill. I have one rank of it, but surely you don't get skill buffs as a random quest reward. It doesn't look like it's an aid item. Not a miscellaneous item. Not a resource. Not a note. I have no idea.
I have things for you.
Cool. Let me stow these resources and I'll check it out. Apparently that's just a thing companions do once in a while. Anyway.
Well,
here,
I'm okay.
I have something for you.
I'd be a lot better if...
Thank you very much.
Let me guess, you'd be a lot better if you had a bigger...
You're welcome. I picked it up on one of our latest planetary expeditions. I'm more than just an extra gun, you know.
I know. You're quite an impressive dancer, too. And I definitely appreciate the effort.
I'm just pleased I get to utilize some of my old field collecting skills. It's been a while. Check back with me from time to time after we return from our planetary jaunts. If I pick anything up, it's all yours.
Hypercatalyst. Presumably a crafting ingredient.
I don't know about you, but a fella could do a lot worse than Constellation.
Your ship is way bigger than Dad's.
Where's Heller? I was joking when I said he can't walk home from here, but he can't walk home from here. Jemison Outpost 1, yeah, knew that. Maybe Barrett flew him home while we were surveying and killing spacers. Probably hoping he'd still be gone when we got back. Give us a little scare before he showed up. Hey, hope you haven't been waiting too long. Okay, surveying the Sol system has turned into a much bigger distraction than I expected. I want to be fresh for the next planet out so the puns aren't lame, so I'm going to save and call it a day. Like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Absolutely leave a comment if you have questions or suggestions. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.